Doom the Dark Ages has been out for around 2 months-ish, I'm not sure when this video is coming out, and needless to say we've seen a lot of new stuff introduced in this game, but due to all the new things that ID Software came up with during the development of Dark Ages, there's a lot of stuff that couldn't be implemented or got changed during development, and today we're going to be covering as much of the cut content from Doom the Dark Ages that I could find. This includes cut mission locations, enemies, abilities, and much more. I'll even show you how to use one of the game's many cancelled weapons in-game. As usual, if you follow the links in the description, then you can get Doom the Dark Ages at GAMESPLANET.com at a discounted price. But with all that said, let's look at the alternate version of Doom the Dark Ages that we could have got. While not all of it is, a lot of the cut content that we're going to be talking about in this video comes from the game's concept art. And in terms of the game's environments, much of what we can see is pretty faithful to what we see in the final game. However, there is a few specific things that I'd like to show you. Firstly, it's very clear that the developers did plan on taking us to the Blood Swamps from the Ancient Gods Part 1, and unfortunately these plans were just never realised. And before anybody says this is an area from Siege, just take a closer look at it. We can very clearly see the weird gas pour things from the Ancient Gods Part 1, and there is literally a massive hell structure in the background of the shot, along with the usual hellish architecture that we can see all around the image. I do really wish that we did get to see the Blood Swamps in this game, but it just wasn't meant to be. Something that we also missed out on in the final game was a much cooler final boss arena. In the concept art for this fight, we can actually see the head of the old one lying in the background of the shot, and honestly this is a much cooler version of what the arena could have looked like. After finishing the game, I did feel like Azrak's fight arenas were pretty boring, and this further proves my point that we could have had something so much better. And actually, speaking of the old one, the Cosmic Realm looked a lot different. While it does still have those Half-Life 1 vibes in the final game, the concept art for the Cosmic Realm actually just looks like Zen. And while I did absolutely love the way that it looked in the final game, I think it would still be really interesting to see other biomes in the Cosmic Realm. Maybe these areas are something that we could visit in a future DLC. We also didn't really visit any city areas in this game either, and the concept art actually shows that there was plans to take us to a more technologically advanced city. And while it may not have fully fit what the Dark Ages was going for, I still think it would have been a really cool place to visit, considering most of what we see is just medieval villages. The weapons of Doom the Dark Ages are a bit of an interesting one as well, because along with the concept art, you can actually use one of the cut weapons in-game, and I'm gonna show you how in just a minute. But first we'll go over the concept art and what we can see from the weapons that were planned but removed. In early images we can see that the meat hook is on the super shotgun, however I don't think this is any indication that they planned on using the meat hook. It was more likely just a placeholder. But that's not all for the super shotgun. While there is some traditional looking super shotguns, there's also ones with big circular things that feed the shells into the barrel. Honestly, it looks really ridiculous and I'm glad we didn't get it, but something that I'm a little bit disappointed we didn't get was the quad barreled shotgun right underneath it. I think it would have been a really cool spin on the super shotgun. Maybe it would have been like a super shotgun. I don't know, but it would have been really cool. And even cooler than that, there were some versions that were planned to have like a big saw blade in it, and I'm guessing that the saw blade could be fired out like a weapon mod or something like that, but I'm not entirely sure on this one. The spike weapons also had quite a lot of change through development. We can see here that some early versions really resembled Eternal's Ballista, and I think that maybe they planned on having this be a much more long-range weapon than it is in game. There's also a couple versions that are fed from the top and side, and I'm not really sure if these are for the Impaler or for the Shredder. Some bits about it are a little bit more obvious than others, but for these ones they look so similar that I can't really put my finger on it. In terms of the BFG though, that took a massive change through development. Right now we've got the big BFC, the Ballistic Force Crossbow or something, I think that's what it's called. But originally it was this gigantic Cosmic Realm block of concrete. Despite me joking about it, I actually do really like this design, and I have a feeling that this would have functioned a lot more like our classic Quake 2 style BFG that we've seen in every game since Doom 3. And it's not difficult for me to say that I wish we had this version of the BFG. While the crossbow is cool and all, I do really love the satisfaction of the previous game's BFG, to the point where I barely even used the crossbow, I forgot it was there. And speaking of weapons from the Cosmic Realm, there was plans to implement a variant for the Writhe chainshot. As you may know, the chainshot is the only weapon in the game that doesn't have a variant, aside from the power weapons like the BFG. However, there actually was plans to implement a second version for the chainshot. In the concept art, we can see this weird 2016 looking weapon with absolutely no context to what it actually is. But little do you know, I actually know how to use this weapon. If you're playing the game on PC and install the mod that allows you to unlock the command console, then it's a really simple process. All you have to do is type in give all and it'll give you all of the weapons in the game, along with the one that was clearly removed very late in development. It seems to be moderately powerful, and I think this little bar that's appearing on screen is like an overheating bar or something like that, but I genuinely could not tell you. Right now it doesn't have a finished model, but going off of what we can see in the concept art, I think this weapon's going to be really cool, and I hope that we'll see it in a DLC, because it will finally complete the game's arsenal. Now with the enemies, we've got a lot of really cool stuff here actually. First up is the Kako Demon and his scrap designs. The Dark Ages Kako was a pretty divisive one. I personally absolutely loved him, but I know there's a lot of people who did not like this design. And wouldn't you know, they actually had plans for a more classic looking Kako Demon. I think a lot more people would have liked the design if it went in this direction, and it would have been really cool to see what this actually would have looked like. And in fact, the classic Kako was actually planned for this game. There's a couple versions of him wearing armor and having certain weapons and stuff like that, or carrying the soldiers about like that one Ghast from the Minecraft movie. I genuinely really would have loved to see this in the game. The Kako Demon remains to be one of the demons that's not really had any variant designs, and it's a real shame considering that it's one of the most iconic enemies ever made. Hopefully we'll see something like this in DLC, but until then, I can hope. Next we have one that I actually like to call the Titan Dread Knight, because that's exactly what it is. It's just a really big Dread Knight. While I was looking at the Titan's planned concept art, I was kind of flicking through it a little bit fast, because, you know, it all looked like a Titan. We've seen them before plenty of times. But when I went past this one, I had to do a double take. I thought it was just a normal Dread Knight, but no, it's a Titan. The Dread Knight was one of my favourite demons introduced in Doom Eternal, and it's a shame that he didn't show up this time. So if he showed up as a Titan, then I would have been really happy. Again, hopefully we can see this in DLC. A bean can dream. Oh, that was really cringy. I'm not doing that. Oh my god. I'm cutting that out. Now if you thought there wasn't enough Cosmic Realm enemies in Doom of the Dark Ages, then I have a treat for you. As it turns out, there was actually plans to have a lot more Cosmic Realm enemies in the game. There's these weird like flying type of monsters here, and they seem like a mix of normal Cthulhu type monsters and the Flood Pure forms from Halo. I will say that I'm not entirely sure if these are concept arts for the old one or not, but considering the sheer variety in these designs, it really wouldn't have surprised me if id Software planned on having more Cosmic Realm enemies. In fact, they actually did plan on this. We can see here these really cool form of soldiers, and I have a feeling that these guys might have acted similar to the Hellraisers from Doom 2016. The Hellraiser was a real fan favourite, and I think it's a shame that we've not seen him since that game. So if he was to show up again, I think this would be the best way. There is also more Cthulhu looking versions of this than the soldier type looking one, but I think that either design would have worked. And as I'll say for the millionth time, please give us this in DLC. You know, I want to give the devs a little hint and a little nudge. Of course, I'm only scratching the surface of the amount of stuff that we can see that was cut from the game. We've not even spoke about these goofy ass Slayer designs. But right now, I am really strapped for time. So if you'd like to see a part 2 for this video, then consider letting me know in the comments. For now though, if you'd like to know everything we currently know about Doom of the Dark Ages DLC, then consider clicking on the video appearing on screen right now. If you haven't already got Doom of the Dark Ages, you can also follow my link to GAMESPLANET.com to get the game at a discount. For now though, if you'd like to support the channel, then you can give this video a like. And of course, have a nice day.